Hello and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to unpack something that is universally felt, often completely misunderstood, and honestly, kind of uncomfortable to talk about. Yep, we are talking about jealousy. But we aren't just going to sit here and talk about how awful it feels. We're actually going to look under the hood at the hard science and the ancient history behind it. We're going to discover the evolutionary engine of jealousy.
So I want you to start by picturing this. Imagine your absolute best friend just called you up. They got a massive promotion at work. Now, intellectually, you love them, right? You want to be happy for them. But suddenly, instead of feeling completely overjoyed, you feel this deep discomfort. You get that tight feeling in your chest, and a tiny, quiet voice inside your head asks, well, why not me? Or maybe you're just endlessly scrolling through social media and you see an acquaintance buy a luxury car or get engaged or launch a wildly successful business. Suddenly your day just feels a little bit worse. When that happens, you probably ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? Am I just a terrible person? Well, I have some absolutely incredible news for you. Feeling jealous doesn't make you a bad person. Literally, not at all. What if I told you that jealousy is actually one of the oldest survival instincts your brain has? It's true. It is living proof that you have functioning, ancient survival hardware that kept your ancestors alive for thousands of years. Which brings us to our first core concept, jealousy as a survival tool. Let's travel back in time, say about 50,000 years. Humans lived in very small tribes, and everything, literally everything, was scarce. Food was limited, safe shelter was limited, partners were limited. In this kind of harsh environment, your social status directly impacted your ability to survive. If someone else in your tribe suddenly gained more resources, like if they found more food or became stronger or got more respect, your own chances of survival mathematically decreased. So your brain evolved to constantly run these social comparisons just to keep you alive. Crucially, in an evolutionary context, jealousy was an internal alarm system. Think of it like a smoke detector, warning your brain that you might be losing something critically important to your survival. In those days, comparing yourself to others was absolutely not about vanity. It was a vital mechanism that protected relationships and life-saving opportunities. Without this exact instinct, your ancestors might not have survived long enough to pass down their genes. Basically, jealousy exists today because it worked.
Okay, so let's look at how this plays out today in a section we'll call the modern social media trap.
100. Throughout the vast majority of human history, your ancestors only ever had to compare themselves to maybe 100 people in their entire tribe over the course of their whole lives. Your brain's comparison software was perfectly calibrated for a group exactly this size.
But fast forward to today and contrast that tiny ancestral tribe with this massive number, millions. Every single time you open up a social media app, your brain is attempting to run that ancient survival comparison against millions of people. Someone has a better body, someone has way more money, someone is traveling the world, and someone else has millions of followers. It's completely overwhelming.
The disconnect here is jarring. In the past, the threat was losing literal survival resources. Today, the threat is just some random stranger buying a nicer phone or going on a beach vacation. Your life is not actually threatened by someone else's vacation photos. But here's the crazy part. Your ancient brain reacts as if it is a literal physical threat. Your brain was just never designed to process the success of millions of strangers. And that is exactly why social media can leave you feeling so completely inadequate, even when your own life is actually going incredibly well.
So, what's really going on inside our heads? Let's dive into understanding the hidden psychology.
You see, jealousy is rarely just about the thing you think you want. It usually hides much deeper fears. It starts with this foundational question your brain is constantly running in the background. Am I safe? This is that primal fear of not being secure or the deep-seated panic of being replaced by someone else who appears better equipped than you. Then, your brain continues to interrogate your social standing with the next big question. Do I belong? This right here is where FOMO, or the fear of missing out, really comes from. If everyone else is achieving these incredible milestones and you aren't, your ancient brain basically panics, thinking you're being isolated and left behind from the safety of the tribe. And finally, the whole thought loop concludes with, am I valued? It's the fear of simply not being enough. So the really crucial takeaway here is that when the answer to any of these three questions feels uncertain, jealousy grows. This perfectly explains why two different people can look at the exact same success story online and react in totally different ways. One person feels super inspired, while the other feels deeply threatened. The difference isn't the actual situation, it's the story their own brain is creating about their safety, their belonging, and their value.
And unfortunately, there are massive industries out there designed to exploit this exact vulnerability. Luxury brands don't just sell you a nice product, they weaponize your biological need for status. Social media platforms don't just show you random content, their algorithms specifically highlight the absolute peak, most exciting moments of people's lives to keep you scrolling. Influencers curate these flawless illusions of perfect bodies, expensive cars, and dream vacations. Your brain starts believing everyone else is just constantly winning, but you're unfairly comparing your everyday, messy, behind-the-scenes reality to someone else's heavily edited highlight reel. And that painful comparison, that fuels their engagement and ultimately their profits.
All right, enough of the doom and gloom. Let's talk solutions, transforming jealousy into growth. Here is exactly how you rewire this response and take your power back. Step 1. Shift comparison to curiosity. When you feel that tightness in your chest, stop and investigate it rather than just wallowing in it. Ask yourself why it stings. Step 2. Celebrate your own small wins. You literally need to remind your ancient brain that you are also succeeding and gathering resources. Step 3. Practice gratitude. Sounds cliche, but it actively tells your nervous system that you are currently safe and have enough. And step 4, limit unnecessary social media comparison. You have to stop feeding your brain millions of data points it wasn't built to handle. Put the phone down and just step out of the algorithmic trap for a bit.
At the end of the day, real personal growth happens when you stop comparing sideways, looking at what everyone else is doing, and start comparing backward. Your only competition is your past self. That is literally the only metric of success that actually matters, and it's the only one you can actually control.
Let's break this down further with some practical tips for daily mindset shifts. The exact cognitive shift you need to make the very second jealousy strikes is actually pretty simple. You must move away from the passive, victim mindset of asking, ugh, why do they have it? And instead, light up your curiosity by asking, okay, what can I learn from them? This turns a moment of self-pity into a really active, powerful learning opportunity. By asking what you can learn, you take the control back and start working with your brain instead of constantly fighting it. Remember this, jealousy is a signal, not an identity. It points towards something you value. So the next time this emotion bubbles up, please do not judge yourself. Remember, it's just your 50,000-year-old hardware trying to protect you. Understanding this strips away its power to make you feel like a bad person. Instead, it turns it into a map. It points directly toward the things you genuinely care about in life. Which brings us to our final and definitely most important question. The next time you feel that familiar pang of jealousy, I want you to just pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself this. What is your jealousy trying to tell you about a dream you've ignored? Is it pointing toward a goal you've postponed for way too long? Or maybe a part of your life that desperately deserves your attention? The choice is yours. Use your ancient instincts to fuel your modern growth. Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.